Hey there, fellow comic fans. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I'm so excited to be bringing you my year in review to show you all the comics that I've made this year and also give you a preview of all the stuff that's going to come in 2024. Before I get into it, I just want to thank you all again for your support. None of these comics would be possible without the generous support that all of you have given me. I love making comics, and this has been a dream come true for me to be able to do it, and that comes down to all the support that you guys have given me. Over the last year, we've really ramped up things here. Last year in 2022, I did 3 Kickstarters. This year in 2023, we did 5 successful Kickstarters, and I'm hoping to do 7 next year. Now, it's a little bit crazy because it's so much work, not just making the comics, but the Kickstarters themselves are a tremendous amount of work. But I love doing it. I love being able to tell these stories and make comic books. I just love it. So I want to do more. I want to tell more stories. I want to make more comic books. And so we're going to try and do even more. But before we talk about all of the cool stuff that I'm hoping to do in 2024, I want to take a minute to show all the stuff that we successfully made. You know, it's you can get in this mindset of like, what's the next thing? I've got to do the next thing. And sometimes it's really helpful to look back at everything you've accomplished so far. And when I say what you've accomplished, again, I mean what we together have done, because none of these would have come out without you. But we did have 5 successful Kickstarters over the course of 2023, and I want to show you those here. The first Kickstarter of the year last year was for the 5th issue of Crimebusters. So Crimebusters is my ode to teen detectives, stuff like Scooby-Doo, the 3 investigators, Nancy Drew, all that sort of stuff. But I put in a lot more sort of real supernatural elements. There's a lot of Lovecraft elements. This was a big milestone issue for me. 4 years into making comics, I had drawn the first 4 issues of Crimebusters myself and done everything on all of those. Here with issue 5, artist Mac Radwanski has joined me as the artist. We have the flat colors done by Shane Kui, and so it was a big deal for me, just to be able to sort of focus on the writing, and people have, responded really well to the story, and I love Mac's art, and it allows me to do more comics. When I was drawing everything myself with Crimebusters, it would take me almost a whole year to do an issue. But now that I have other artists doing the art for me, that's why I'm able to do so many more comics. So I was really excited to get this out. Crimebusters is still what I consider my flagship title of the series. So in addition to this, once we had issue 5 out, and all of these issues are like oversized issues. So the shortest issue of Crimebusters is 34 pages. The longest is 38 pages. So they're all big. So when we finished 5 issues, we did another Kickstarter later in the year to collect all 5 issues in this trade paperback collection. You can see it's nice and thick. It's 212 pages. Of that, I think it's 180 pages of story. And then there's a variant cover gallery and some other bonus material and stuff like that in here. So again, just to have a book of my comics just exist was tremendously satisfying and fulfilling for me. The culmination of 4.5 years of work on Crimebusters to get this first trade volume together. And again, it wouldn't be possible without all of you, but now here it is. We successfully kickstarted this back in September, and as you can see, it's in hand now. So really excited to reach this big milestone with Crimebusters, have those 5 issues. And the other thing that we did with the trade is I took the first 3 issues of Crimebusters, which were originally in black and white, had Shane do flat colors for all of them, and then I did the finishes, so they're all in full color now. So now we've got everything basically that I'm doing now is all full color, and it's just great to see the stories and how they read differently when they're in color, and certain things just sort of pop to life in color. So it's just really exciting to make this vision sort of a reality. So that was really exciting. The other big thing that we did in 2023 was the launch of a new series, my epic fantasy series Quest. We successfully launched Quest #1 over the summer. There's a bunch of variant covers, but I'm just showing you the regular cover here by interior artist Marcos Lima. I'm a big believer in having the cover A, the regular cover, be the same artist that does the interior work. So that's something that I have done on all of my comics and plan to do on all of my comics. It's great with variant covers to be able to bring in other artists so you can see their vision and how they interpret your characters. It's creatively very fulfilling for me. Not even talking about on a collecting level, but as a creator to see all the different artists and their different takes on it. So I love doing all the different variants, but and there's the regular version of Quest #1. And this is a huge endeavor for me, launching a whole new IP, as they say in the business, means bringing in a whole new audience. I do have a lot of support from the people that read Crimebusters, but it's a completely different type of story. So it's not for everybody, which I recognize. But I'm trying to bring in new people that are fantasy fans of Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings, and World of Warcraft, and like all the stuff that I've loved my whole life as a huge fantasy fan, and tell these kind of epic fantasy sword and sorcery stories. You know, I love reading like Savage Sword of Conan and The Warlord, who's a big influence. So it was really exciting to be able to bring Quest #1 to life. And this is a series that I'm going full steam ahead on. So I'll talk a little bit more in a minute about what's coming up in 2024, but I'm trying to get these out much quicker than I've been able to get out comics in the past and get them out on a regular schedule. And so that means that we actually successfully kickstarted issue 2 of Quest. Now that's not printed yet. I'm putting the finishing touches now this month here as I'm recording this in December. I'll have the comic will be completely done sometime here in December and be sent off to the printer then. So I don't have the print in hand yet, the printed copy like I do with issue 1, but I'll put the cover up here for issue 2, and again successfully kickstarted that, bring this vision to life and create a foundation for what we're going for, because this is an ongoing series. I have a long storyline in mind. We're gonna we jump right into the action with issue 1. I wanted to start with the action, and it's an action comic, so every issue there's a lot of fighting and stuff like that. But as we go through the series, we're going to learn a lot about the backstories of the characters. So hopefully we'll get that emotional investment as well. But again, I'll talk more about that in a minute. But we did have a 5th Kickstarter. This was a smaller one, but my third title that I do, Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, we're in a bit of a transitional period with it. I haven't forgotten about it, and I am going to do issue 3 as I promised. I've got the story all worked out, but there's some behind the scenes stuff that's going on. So we won't be getting to issue 3 probably next year. It might be the year after, but I still have it in mind all the time. New ideas for that series. I wanted to keep things going. And so what I did was we did a little campaign together for this. It's completely blank, as you see. And this is the blank edition of Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam #1. I wanted to have some blanks for a couple reasons. I occasionally do blank covers for people. It's something that I always offer up on the Kickstarters. Every once in a while, someone will buy one, and then I'll draw whatever anybody wants on it. Now, with Crimebusters, I had done a blank for issue 1 way back when I put out issue 1. I'm almost out of those, so I thought it's time to get a new one. I wanted to do it for Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam in particular, and in this case, I didn't want to have the logo on it. And as I've talked about this before, but I love sort of paying homage and tribute to the original series, which in this case would be National Comics, because even though my version of Uncle Sam is a completely different version than the one in National Comics, National Comics is where Uncle Sam appeared from quality throughout the Golden Age. But also, one of the main characters in the series besides Uncle Sam is, of course, Granny Gumshoe, who also appears in Crimebusters and is a big fan favorite and a favorite of mine. And she also appeared in National Comics. So she was in National Comics 57 to 70. And so I really wanted to do a National Comics variant. However, DC still occasionally publishes under the National Comics logo, so they do have a soft trademark, even though it's not a registered trademark on it. So I didn't feel comfortable for legal reasons printing a National Comics variant. But with these blank variants, I can draw the National Comics logo on there for my own satisfaction and for yours if you want one. As with all of the stuff, I try and think of what I want for my collection. and what I want as a reader and as a collector. And then that's what I make. I make the stories, I tell the stories that I want to read, and I make the comics that I want for myself. And so I really wanted a blank version of Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam #1 so I could draw some National Comics covers. I haven't had a chance to actually do that, although I have some in mind. But it was a fun little Kickstarter to do. We may be doing some more stuff next year. Again, I'll talk about that in just a second with Cthulhu vs. Uncle Sam, while we're setting things in motion to finally get issue 3 out. So we had these 5 successful Kickstarters, bunch of new comics. Very excited to get Crimebusters 5, Quest 1 and 2, all now comics that never existed before, stories that I've been able to tell. Thank you so much for all of that. And to have that trade collection, the first 5 issues of Crimebusters, again, a dream come true. So it was a really successful year for what I call Crimebuster Comics. Next year, I'm hoping to bring things to a new level. So I want to talk now about what's in store in 2024. Because 2024 marks the 5th anniversary of me making comics. So the first issue of Crimebusters, 5 years ago today, I was working on drawing it. I started drawing it at the end of October into early November of 2018, and it took me a long time to get it done. So the Kickstarter for Crimebusters #1, I think it launched in May, might have been April, but I think it was in May of 2019. So next spring marks 5 years of comics, and I didn't originally intend to sort of name my company anything, but it's now become Crimebuster Comics because that was the website address I was able to get. All the other permutations didn't work out, and so then I got the crimebustercomics@gmail.com, which is my email address, and so it ended up turning into my company name. So to celebrate, I'm bringing you more of everything because I really want to start, again, getting stuff out on a faster, more regular schedule. So let's talk about the different titles and what you can expect to see in 2024, because as I mentioned, I'm hoping to get out 7 Kickstarters next year. First of all, we got Crimebusters. That's where we're starting. As I'm recording this video right now here in December, Mac Radwanski only has a couple pages left, like literally just a couple pages left for issue 6. So I'm expecting to have issue 6 all done here in December. I'm going to send it off to Shane for the flat colors. I expect to have all of this stuff ready to go for mid-January. The pre-launch page for Crimebusters #6 is already up. I'm showing you here the covers, the variant covers. We've got the regular one, of course, again by Mac. I'm really excited about how that came out. We have a variant cover for the Trixie's Mysteries. I always do every issue have a Trixie's Mysteries, a variant cover, paying homage to teen detectives like Nancy Drew. In this case around, this time around, the cover is by guest artist Lisa Wynn, and she's actually, I'll be talking more about her in a minute because she's been doing stuff for multiple projects for me. But we're going to start off with this cover that she did here for the Trixie's Mysteries variant, and of course we've also got the Boy Comics variant. And this issue, first issue, Crimebuster 6 here, the first one for next year, it does feature Uncle Sam. It ties into some of the stuff in Cthulhu vs. Uncle Sam. So if you're a fan of Cthulhu vs. Uncle Sam, you might want to check this issue out because it takes place 12 years later, but it picks up on some of the threads from that series. And so I had Cthulhu vs. Uncle Sam #1 and 2 artist Jay Piscopo do this cool variant cover for the Boy Comics variant where we pay tribute to the history of Crimebuster and the Golden Age legacy that I'm carrying on in Crimebusters. I've got more covers coming. Haven't yet done the Kickstarter exclusive cover, but we always do those for Crimebusters as well, so I'm working on that right now. But I also want to show this. This is the 5th anniversary variant cover. So what I'm doing is to pay tribute to the Marvel 25th anniversary covers from 1986, which came out very early on when I had just started collecting comics, and they have a big sort of memory, for me, they're very nostalgic. So I'm doing a Crimebuster Comics 5th anniversary series of covers. Every comic that I do this year is going to have one of these. And it's going to have a portrait of one of the main characters on it. So you can see here for issue 6, it's Chuck Chandler, aka Crimebuster, one of the 2 lead characters in Crimebusters. These are going to be limited to just 100 copies. And I think right now for most of the projects, you'll be getting them. You'll only be able to get them as an add-on, and that's strictly because I have so many other variant covers that it starts getting super confusing. Just the way the Kickstarter page is set up. If I have too many reward tiers with too many different options, it really starts getting confusing for everybody. So I think it'll just be as an add-on that you can get. It'll be $15. I'm trying to, I don't want it to be some crazy variant cover price. So I'm trying to keep it affordable. And I'm hoping that people will dig them and that people want to get the whole set. I'm looking forward to having the whole set. And as you can see, what I've done is the characters on the left side are the characters from Quest, and then curving around down from the bottom left and around the bottom are the characters from Crimebusters. And then when you curve around up the right side, it's the characters from Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam being featured. So it's got characters from all 3 of my titles. And I'm really excited for this. So this is Crimebuster 6. It's going to launch in January. Pre-launch page is already up. I'm very much hoping to also get out Crimebusters number 7. That's the plan right now. Obviously, since we're just finishing issue 6, Mac hasn't yet had a chance to start on issue 7. So I don't want to promise anything until it's like closer to being done, rather than close to being started. But my hope right now is that we'll have enough time to get out Crimebuster 7 towards the end of the year in the fall. And so we can get out 2 issues of Crimebusters next year. That's the plan right now. And the Crimebusters number 7 variant cover for the 5th anniversary will have Trixie on the cover. So I'm really excited for that. I've got issues 7, 8, 9, 10 of Crimebusters. The stories are already planned out. I haven't written the full script yet, but I've broken them down. I know what happens in all of those. So it's just a matter of doing them. We're going to try and get them out as fast as we can because, again, it is the flagship series. I have a lot of stories I want to tell. Things are really building. Now that we're out on a more regular schedule, I'm still trying to do every issue so it's a self-contained story, so it's a satisfying adventure with a beginning, middle, and end. But things are definitely flowing more from one issue to the next. The first 4 issues were kind of standalone. Issue 5 sort of brought together loose threads from those, but now with issue 6, it's picking up from stuff from issue 5, and then there's stuff from issue 6 they're going to lead into 7 and 8, and it's all going to carry into more of a flowing story going forward. You can still get the individual issues if you want, but it's a great time to jump in because things are really taking off here with issue 6. So I'm excited for that very much. Now, we also have big things in plan for Quest. There's going to be 3 issues of Quest that are coming out in 2024. That I can say with certainty because, in fact, not only do I have all the pages for issue 3 already back from Shane coloring the flats, Quest number 4 is all drawn as well, and Shane is currently flatting them, and I've got an artist currently halfway done with issue 5 already. So I think by the end of this month or possibly into January, we're going to have Quest 3, 4, and 5. We're going to have the artwork pretty much done. Now there's still stuff that I have to do afterwards. I have to do all the lettering, and I do all the finished colors. There's a lot of adjustments that I make, and I add shading and lighting effects and stuff like that. And I've got a lot of variant covers that I have to draw for all 5 issues, stuff like that. But the core of the work is all done on 3, mostly done on 4, and very far along on 5. And so we're definitely going to get out all 3 of those issues of Quest. So Quest number 3, we're hoping to launch around March 1st. And then we'll have to see how everything breaks down after that. But over the summer, we're going to get Quest number 4 out. And then in the fall, we'll have Quest number 5. So got the cover up here for Quest number 3. This is by Rock Alves. So Rock Alves did issue 2 and issue 3, which is a 2-part story for Quest. And then there's just some scheduling things that have caused me to go with different artists. So issues 2 and 3 are just a real action-packed, very dark, violent, like heavy story. Issue 4 has some more of the same, but it is a bit of a change of pace story. We get a little bit of a breather for the characters that are survived, and we meet a bunch of new characters that are going to be joining our party and are going to be really important going forward. So it's a classic like Dungeons and Dragons sort of meet the people at the inn sort of thing, and before you go on the adventure and you form your party. So after issues 3, which again finishes the two-parter with the art by Rock Alves, Lisa Wynn is coming in as a special guest artist for issue 4 for this sort of change of pace story. Her art's a little cartoonier, and I thought it was good. There's a lot of more conversation, and she's really good with like the expressions and stuff. So that'll be a fun little change of pace. But then in the fall, we're going to have issue 5, and Marcos Lima, who drew issue 1 of Quest, and everyone seems to really love his art, and I love his art. Marcos is back on the series. Hopefully will be our regular artist going forward. It's just going to be a matter of, again, how the scheduling works out. But I love Marcos's work. So I'm hoping that starting issue 5, Marcos will be on board going forward. And issue 5 is going to start a whole new, exciting adventure on the Quest. It's got a lot of action. It's got, cursed temples and lizard men and dinosaurs and fire elementals and like the whole 9 yards. So really excited for all of that. So really excited to get these out. The plan is that after issue 6, which won't be until 2025, then we're going to do a trade collection to collect everything. I should say that all of these issues of Quest, just like the first 2 issues, they're all going to have the RPG tabletop edition, which is going to have the bonus supplement game materials, so you can play it at your own home. They'll all look like the classic D&D modules, and we're going to have the rules for the classes, new classes for this world, new monsters, new mini modules, new settings. So it's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to get all of that out to you as well. So that's 5 of the comics I'm planning to have out next year. Crimebuster 6 and 7, Quest 3, 4, and 5. But there's another comic that I actually have almost done, just waiting for the last batch of pages to come in, and that is a romance comic. You had to know it was coming. I've talked about it a number of times, but I'm finally almost done with it. Again, by the end of this month, I expect to have all the pages in. I'm going to send them off to Shane to get the flats done. And I'm hoping to launch this after Quest number 3. So I'm hoping that at the end of April, potentially into the beginning of May, will be the first issue, maybe the only issue, we'll see how people like it, of Geek Love, which is my romance comic. And so all the stories are going to have a little bit of a geeky, nerdy element to it. The main story actually features characters from the Crimebusters. People may be wondering what happened to Stu after what happened to him in the backup story in issue 4 of Crimebusters, where he found the magic tome, the Book of Fate. And he's been having some weird things going on with his sort of seem like magical sensations after his encounter with the Curse Mask, right? Well, this is all going to be focusing on Stu, who had a meet cute in that issue 4 right at the end, where he met this guy named Mike, who he's interested in, and they sort of set up a first date. So the main story, the longest, I shouldn't say main, but the longest story in Geek Love is going to have Stu and Mike, and we're going to learn a lot more about what Stu's been doing with the Book of Fate and his magical powers. And the story is about how their relationship is impacted by Stu revealing his big secret, which is that he's actually a wizard. So that's a wizards in love sort of story that happens to feature Stu from Crimebusters. So if you're a fan of wizards, love, or the Crimebusters, hopefully you'll check that out. And that's being drawn by Lisa Wynn again. So the first 3 projects, 3 of the first 4 projects I'm putting out next year are going to feature her one way or another. So I hope you dig it. And then we've got a story that Mac Radwanski drew for me, the Crimebusters artist, And I think this might be fun for people like fans like Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, for instance, people who are into the Golden Age thing. It's actually about cosplayers. It's about a girl who doesn't have much confidence, and then she gets into the cosplaying community, and that gives her this confidence to sort of become the person that she is. And there's of course some romance involved. There's some love involved. But when I was doing that, I was like, well, I can't, for legal reasons. I didn't really want them to be cosplaying as, Wonder Woman. So the characters they're cosplaying as are all public domain Golden Age characters. And so the main person that she cosplays as is War Nurse, Pat Parker, War Nurse, who's sort of my Wonder Woman stand-in for the story. But we've got other cosplayers with other Golden Age characters like the Golden Age Black Cat and stuff like that. So that's really fun. I love the cosplay community. I hope people dig that. And then there's a story about funiculars, which maybe doesn't sound that geeky, but I, for some reason, I just love funiculars. I find funiculars to be extremely romantic. So I did a whole story about people falling in love on a funicular, which is mainly just for me and my wife, but hopefully other people like it too. And then I'm doing a short, just like a 2-page sort of romantic parody of the Jack Chick Dark Dungeons track. So it's going to be about people falling in love who are playing Dungeons and Dragons, but it's going to be drawn in these like, it's going to be laid out just like, say, like 8 pages from panels that look like pages from the Jack Chick Dark Dungeons tract. So that's just sort of my tongue-in-cheek finger in his eye for that. So anyway, Geek Love #1. Again, it's going to be in the spring, hopefully the end of April into March. And then finally, the last thing I'm planning on doing at the end of the year is that I've talked about this before, but it's the Granny Gumshoe 100-page giant, where I'm going to be doing digitally remastering. I'm going to be scanning the original Granny Gumshoe stories from National Comics 57 to 70 because I have put together a complete run of all of them. I'm going to scan my copies. I'm going to digitally remaster and clean up those scans so they're going to be the highest quality versions of that story you can get anywhere other than if you buy the back issues yourself. And I'm going to make them look as clean as possible. I'm going to collect them into a 100-page giant. And the other thing I'm going to do is all of those issues have these really terrible covers with the Barker on them. None of them have Granny Gumshoe. So I'm going to redraw all 14 covers from National Comics 57 to 70 with Granny Gumshoe on the cover, what might have looked like if Granny had been the lead character, right? So I'm looking forward to doing that. That's not something I've really started on yet. That's going to be the last thing next year. So that'll probably be into November before we get to that. Now, that's definitely going to happen at some point, and it's probably going to be November of 2024. So, but there's an off chance that if we can get to work on Crimebusters fast enough, I'd love to get Crimebusters 8 out instead. But we'll see. Right now, that's what I'm planning. That's the plan, and is to get out the Granny Gumshoe special at the end of next year. And that's the plan for now. Now, if people have demand with those anniversary covers, I may do a Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam #1 and 2 Kickstarter, like a real short one, just to reprint issues 1 and 2 with anniversary covers so we can get an Uncle Sam cover. But that's up to you guys. And it'll depend on how popular those variants are. I should say that the Geek Love cover is going to have Stu on it from Crimebusters. He's going to be featured. And then Quest 3 is going to be Vess. Quest 4 is going to have Maniac Op, the Elven Bard. And Quest 5 is going to have Hugin, the Dwarven Ranger. Those are the characters that will be featured on those portrait covers. And then, of course, assuming that we do the Granny special next year, that will have, it'll probably be a flip book, just like the Crimebuster 80th anniversary special, and one side will have the Granny on the anniversary cover. If we don't do the Granny thing, then what I'll probably do is, and we would only not do it again if Probably the only reason would be if we can get Crimebusters 8 out that fast. So if we're able to do that, then Crimebusters 8 would have Vera on the cover, and then I would definitely do a real small Kickstarter with Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam 1 and 2, and then 1 would have Uncle Sam, and 2 would have Granny. But the end of the year is a little up in the air. But that's the big roadmap for next year. I'm really excited to get all of these out. Now, in the links down below, we've got the pre-launch pages that are already up for the Crimebusters number 6, for Quest number 3, and for Geek Love number 1. So if you're part of the Romance Hive and you love romance comics as much as I do, sign up for that so you don't miss it. I just can't wait to share all this stuff with you. And again, thank you so much for everything we've been able to accomplish so far. And I can't wait for next year and the next 5 years of Crimebuster Comics. So thank you all.